Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines we're tracking for you this evening. Stock markets start the week on a steady note. Positive cues from Asia and Friday's indication that the Fed may look at less aggressive rate hikes bolster sentiment. The sensex and the nifty each close over 0.5% higher. The rupee weakens on dollar buying by importers, but a sharp dip in the dollar index limits the weakness. Axis Bank's Q3 profits beat expectations, rising 62% year-on-year. Net interest income also comes in above estimates, rising by more than 32%. Asset quality remains steady. Provisioning is higher versus last quarter as well. Bank earnings give investors reasons to smile. ICICI Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, Canara Bank and IDBI Bank report record high margins. Mid-cap banks like IDFC First and RBL Bank also report strong numbers. Bandhan Bank claims the worst on the stress is behind it. The Securities Appellate Tribunal sets aside SEBI's 625 crore rupee disgorgement order against the National Stock Exchange in the co-location case, as NSE has to pay only 100 crore rupee to the SEBI Investor Protection Fund for failing to perform its due diligence. Amazon launches a dedicated cargo fleet for its India operations with 2 aircraft. Amazon Air will initially be available in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore and Hyderabad. Will be operated by Bangalore-based Quickjet Cargo Airlines. Mercedes-Benz Global CEO tells CNBC-TV18 the India-EU FTA could be the catalyst for the auto giant, also adding that India was the fastest growing market in 2022 and will be a key driver of engineering and innovation in all Mercedes cars for the future. 10 people killed in an incident of mass shooting at a Los Angeles dance club during Chinese Lunar Year celebrations on Saturday. Police authorities said that a suspect, a 72-year-old Asian man, was pronounced dead following a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Arrest warrant issued against Oriva Group Managing Director Jaisukh Patel 3 months after the collapse of a hanging bridge in Morbi, which killed close to 140 people. The company was in charge of the renovation, operation and maintenance of the 100-year-old bridge. Patel has been missing since the collapse on the 30th of October, 4 days after the bridge had reopened to the public. Well, let's start with the day's market action. The Dalal Street regaining the losses of its last 2 sessions, with the Sensex and the Nifty ending 0.5% in the green. IT stocks leading from the front today. Banks outperformed, with the bank index gaining over 0.5%, while mid-caps rose in line with the benchmarks. Prashant is standing by to take us through the market action. Prashant, a steady start for our markets this week.
Well, it was a good session by all accounts, but I think bulls would have liked a little bit more, a little bit of a push higher. I'll explain in terms of levels in a bit from now. Banks did well, and of course, they followed through from what we had on Friday. The index was up on Friday, and today was no different. There was, of course, a tailwind of ICICI and Kotak numbers as well. Gainers coming through in sectors like IT. I mean, the IT index was up 2% at one point, closed higher by 1.7. Pharma and FMCG were 2 other areas which did well. Lever on the Nifty did quite well. There was Sun Pharma, Aisha. Amongst tech, you had names like Tech Mahindra, TCS and Infosys, which stood out with gains as well. Cement as a pack sold out pretty heavily. Ultratech reported, and I think others took note. Ultratech was the top loser on the Nifty. Grasim was down, but names like Shree, Dalmia, India Cements, JK, they were down and out as well. Gainers coming through in the mid-cap IT space, and they picked up pace after 3 p.m. Coforge was up strongly. Persistent, which it reported, was up strongly. Tata Elxsi was something which stood out. Delivery from the new age companies, bit of a relief there. Shakti Pumps, Canfin Homes and Torrent Power were some of the others. The Nifty needs to add a little bit more to surpass some of the technical levels, maybe another 100 points or so, and it will add comfort to the bulls to take long positions. And of course, from a global perspective, Friday, Wall Street saw a powerful rally, and I think a follow-through later today will only add confidence that perhaps there is more to go here as we head into the final few days before the budget. Back to you.
Right, Prashant, we will have to see if Wall Street follows through on the Friday rally. Appreciate you joining us. One of the stocks in focus, Adani Enterprises, is set to launch its follow-on public offer worth 20,000 crore rupees this week. Vivek joins us now with the key contours of the FPO. Vivek.
Well, we're looking forward to the opening of the much-awaited, much-anticipated Adani Enterprises FPO. Remember, this particular follow-on public offer is worth almost 20,000 crores. That is what the company is looking to garner via this particular fundraising route. So the opening date of this particular FPO is on 27th of January. It will run up till 31st of January, and the anchor investors bidding date is on 25th of January. Now, the issue price is at a discount as far as the current market price is concerned. The issue price band, the floor price is at 3,112, and the cap price is at 3,276. It's important to remember that there is a further discount of 64 rupees per share as far as retail investors are concerned. That is, investors who are looking to bid at less than 2 lakhs per particular bid that they are putting in as far as this particular FPO is concerned. Now, when you're talking about this particular FPO, remember, the money would be collected via multiple tranches. So the first call would be to collect almost 50% of the total price, and then the subsequent calls would be looking to garner the further fundraise. What is it that the company is looking to raise funds for? Number one, a little over 10,800 crores towards the green hydrogen airports as well as the Greenfield Expressway project. The company is looking to repay debt of a little over 4,100 crore at Adani Airport Holdings, Adani Road Transport as well as Mundra Solar. And when you're talking about the remainder of the funds, it will be used for general corporate purposes.
This Adani Enterprises FPO is a part of our 10-year capital planning cycle, supported by a fully funded and a de-risked growth plan that is aligned with the India's growth story, aligned with our capabilities, and aligned with the needs of our India's retail shareholders. Our intention with the FPO is to expand our share registry with a specific focus on our India's retail investors. The FPO is a validation of our intent to bring in new public equity investors as our shareholders.
Well, that is Gautam Adani on the FPO. A quick check of some of the other headlines this evening. The Securities Appellate Tribunal has set aside market regulator SEBI's 625 crore rupee disgorgement order against the National Stock Exchange in the co-location case. Now, the tribunal has said the NSE has to pay only 100 crore rupees to the SEBI Investor Protection Fund for failing to perform its due diligence. It's also ordered that both former NSE chairman Ravi Narayan and former managing director Chitta Ramakrishna failed in their duty. Disgorgement can't be made from their salaries. Air Vistara says it's reported a profit in the December quarter, marking its first ever profit since it was launched 8 years ago. However, the profit number excludes unrealized foreign currency loss and non-operating income. The airline says its revenue has crossed $1 billion in the first 9 months of this fiscal. Mercedes-Benz Global CEO tells CNBC-TV18 in an exclusive interview that the India-EU FTA could be the catalyst for the auto giant, adding that India was the fastest growing market in 2022 and will be a key driver for engineering and innovation in all Mercedes cars for the future.
One factor that will decide that, because it's about economics, is also what do the free trade agreements look like between the different markets, your target export markets. Can we reduce barriers for trade, import and export in both directions? Those are things that where maybe policymakers can also look to, let's say, act as a catalyst to make that happen.
Well, that is the global CEO of Mercedes. On to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Union Minister for State for Electronics and Information Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, says India's digital economy will touch $1 trillion over the next few years, with electronic production and exports doubling every year. In a conversation with CNBC-TV18's Ritu Singh, Chandrasekhar said he does not see the startup momentum slowing down due to macro factors, but says there will be a pricing correction in the traditional consumer tech space. Listen in.
I think what is happening is the traditional consumer tech, the startups that were innovating around the internet in these consumer tech franchises may be plateauing out in terms of the numbers of startups in that space. And certainly in that space, there is a pricing correction that we are seeing as investors based on global trends reevaluate what the pricing and valuation expectations are.
Well, the big earnings today. Axis Bank reporting its Q3 numbers with profits beating expectations, up 62% year-on-year. Net interest income has also come in above estimates, rising by more than 32%. Asset quality remains steady, with both gross and net NPA in percentage terms seeing a slight decline quarter-on-quarter. The bank's provisioning at over 1,400 crore rupees is higher than last quarter as well, as last year's slippages are higher than last quarter, while write-offs are lower quarter-on-quarter. Ritu joins us now to decode the Axis Bank numbers for us. Ritu.
Well, it's a good set of numbers, Shireen, from Axis Bank, both on the top line and the bottom line. It is a comfortable beat on what the street was estimating. On the profits, like you said, it is a 62% surge year-on-year, and the net interest income, which is the core income of the bank, that is also up more than 32%, and this is on the back of a good loan growth. We saw 15% growth in advances, and there was also an expansion in the net interest margins reported by the bank. Those stood at 4.26% in this quarter compared to about 3.9% that we saw in the previous quarter. So good news on that front as well. The gross NPA and the net NPA have remained more or less flat quarter-on-quarter. So the gross NPAs have actually come down marginally to 2.38% compared to 2.5% in the previous quarter. And the net NPAs have also come down to 0.47%. This is quite a good number. Net NPAs coming in below 1%. So the bank has made adequate provisions against any sort of NPAs that it has on the books. Slippages, are actually a little higher than the previous quarter at 3,807 crores compared to about 3,300 crores that we saw in the previous quarter. We'll, of course, be asking the management more on their guidance on the asset quality as well. Upgrades and recovery also strong, about 2,000 crores for the quarter. Any comments that the management makes on the Axis Max deal, that will also be something that we'll watch out for in the management commentary that will be coming up later this evening.
Yes, we certainly will be. Ritu, many thanks for joining us. And staying with banks, it's turning out to be a good quarter again for banks. Big banks like Kotak Mahindra, ICICI reporting record high margins in Q3. Mid-cap banks like IDFC First Bank and RBL Bank also posted strong numbers. Abhishek joins us now with more. Abhishek, a strong Q3 for banks so far.
Well, the net interest margin for all the lenders have been robust. So that is aiding in terms of the P&L momentum in Q3 FY23. For ICICI Bank, the net interest margin was at all-time high at 4.65%, and they continue to, outperform SDFC Bank on various parameters. Asset quality, both the gross NPA and net NPA ratio are one of the best in last 8 years or 32 quarters. In terms of P&L, they have beaten our estimate both on NII and PAT. Kotak Mahindra Bank, the net interest margin is one of the highest that you are seeing since Q2 FY15. So it has come in at 5.47%. Deposit growth quarter-on-quarter at about 6% level. That has actually gone down well with the street. Robust ROA or return on asset, which is close to 2.5%. Both in terms of NII and PAT, it's a beat on our poll. Bandhan Bank, the asset quality surprised positively given the fact that it has remained stable or improved. So gross NPA ratio has improved, net NPA ratio has remained stable. Brokerages are now upbeat given the fact that they say 90% of the stress has come in from the known stress portfolio of the bank. Collection efficiency is back to pre-COVID levels. The SMA book and the unprovided stress are actually down on a sequential basis, and valuations are attractive, and the stock can re-rate if at all they move towards the ROE of 20% level. So across brokerages, they have a buy or overweight rating, target price ranging from 320 to 350. Canara Bank, the gross NPA ratio is the lowest in last 7 years or 28 quarters. Net NPA ratio is the lowest in last 30 quarters or more than 7.5 years. Return ratios, one of the best return ratios that you are seeing for Canara Bank in last 8 years, given the fact that ROE has now crossed the 20% mark for the quarter. Annualized credit cost at a mere 0.9% is the lowest in last 30 quarters, and annualized slippage ratio coming in at 1.5% is the lowest in last 8 quarters. So in terms of P&L, both the NII and PAT is a beat on our poll. Back to you.
Abhishek, many thanks for joining us. Now, in a bid to speed up deliveries, e-commerce giant Amazon is all set to expand its cargo business in India. Amazon Air, according to reports, could be launched by the end of January. The cargo service will have two dedicated cargo aircraft with a capacity of 20,000 packages. Shilpa gets us a sneak peek into the Amazon Air India launch.
There is a higher chance now that that late night order you placed on Amazon will reach you the very next day, and this aircraft that you see behind me will most likely make that possible. Amazon has launched its own dedicated air cargo fleet called Amazon Air in India. Currently, Amazon says the idea is to enable faster deliveries and also have end-to-end control over its shipments. Currently, Amazon has two Boeing 737-800s that will be operated and maintained by its partner QuickJet Cargo Airlines. And each of these aircraft has the capacity to carry 20,000 shipments. Now, just because it's launching its own dedicated fleet, Amazon says that it will not stop working with its commercial air cargo partners yet. It will continue to do that to deliver to other cities beyond the 4 cities that is operating in. Now, Amazon Air, that's called Prime Air in the US, was launched in 2016 first and currently operates in the US, in Canada and Europe, making India the 4th market.
Shilpa, many thanks for joining us. And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. Stay tuned. The news continues on CNBC-TV18. We're back after a short break.